My name is Calvin Shorter. I am the founder, director, instructor of the Career Academy of Greensboro. The Career Academy of Greensboro is a private high school, private nonprofit high school for young men ages 15 to 19 years old. And what we do is these young men have pretty much fallen through the cracks of the educational system and the traditional public schools. Now, with that being said, I worked for Guilford County Schools for the past 7 years. And I worked with a program called SCALES, School Community Alternative Learning Environment. This program was for young men and young women who were constantly getting in trouble in their ascending high schools. And with the trouble they were getting into, they would come to SCALES for a different amount of days. It would be either 45 days, end of the semester, whole semester, end of the school year, or 365 days, a whole year. And with my job title at SCALES was called a behavioral specialist support. And what I did was, if there was an altercation or anything that caused the class to not run smoothly, it was my job to go in there and to help the class, help the teacher, help that class run smoothly. If there was a fight in the classroom, I was the first one in. We were the only school in Guilford County for 3 years that didn't have an SRO, a police officer, in the school. And we were supposed to be one of the baddest schools in Guilford County. But after myself and the principal there, after our third year there, we had the lowest suspension rate in Guilford County. So with this being said, I was working there. I worked there for 7 years. And after probably like the fourth or fifth year of me working there, I started seeing the same students come through these doors. And I started asking, why do you keep coming back every year? And the answer to me was, nobody cares about us in the public schools, and this is the only place that somebody even pays attention to us. So that got me thinking, why would they come here instead of staying in their regular schools? And, a lot of things came to mind. You got the smaller groups here, you got the smaller classroom, you got more attention. And actually, just knowing one of these students' names meant the world to them. You call their name, and a lot of them would tell me, they're walking down the hallway, and the teacher would say, "Hey, you." And they didn't even know their names. So with me seeing these same students, it came to me, why can't we have a program where these young men will fit in? And, I started doing research and seeing that the dropout rates of these young men, the young men who weren't finishing, and even the ones that were finishing, couldn't read. They couldn't do third grade math. They couldn't do fourth grade math. And something was wrong. So, and my fifth year there, I started putting together a program to see if I can build a program that these young men can come in, that we take them out and learn a trade. Because I'm from New Jersey, and where I came from, we had VOTEX, vocational high schools. And you go to regular high school half a day, and then your afternoon you go to a vocational school. And New Jersey has one of the lowest dropout rates around because we have vocational schools in all the counties. So my principal came to me one day, and I was one of these young men. I was suspended every week. I was kicked out every week. And he gave me a choice one day. He said, "I'm going to give you a choice. You go to VOTEC, learn a trade, or the next time I kick you out of school, I'm kicking you out for good." And I wasn't a stupid young man. I did stupid things, but I wasn't a stupid young man. And he pretty much saved my life because he didn't kick me out of school. So I killed two birds with one stone. I learned how to cook, and I graduated high school. So with everything that was going on with these young men, for 4 summers in a row, I buried 4 young men who pretty much gave their life for something they should still be alive for. And it was, people call them, oh, they're bad kids. They're not bad kids, they're surviving. And you survive by any means necessary. And so what I started doing is I started learning what I would needed to do to put this school together. It took me 11 years to get where I needed to get to. And on my 12th year, I opened my doors to my first students at Genesis Baptist Church right up the street. And since then, I've had young men come through, and the program's not for everybody. We run a very strict program. It's 3 strikes, you're out. We treat it like a job. You arrive on time, you do what you have to do, you go home. But In the meantime, we have to bring their reading levels up, their math levels up. I test each young man as he walks through my door, and I test them in language arts and math through an assessment test. And I asked them, where do you think you are as far as math and language arts? Oh, I passed algebra 2. I'm in English 2. I'm in English composition 2. I'm in literature now. But when I take that assessment test, it comes back, they're on a third grade math level. They're reading on a fifth grade language arts skills. And I show them, you didn't pass algebra 2, you were passed through algebra 2. And so then they finally realize it. And once they accept it, that's when the teaching starts. Because, denial is the first thing. They're going to deny, oh, your test is wrong. And what I do next is I give them a handwritten, here, you solved that. And they can.
My name's Alex Mandikos. I'm 27 years old. And I was born and raised here in Greensboro. And obviously at some point I'd like to, branch out, see the world, and, move to some other places. Like especially in martial arts, I'd like to go to Brazil and Thailand and, some other places and experience more martial arts. Growing up, I did watch a lot of martial arts movies, especially Bruce Lee is very iconic. Everybody knows Bruce Lee, and I loved him growing up. Enter the Dragon, Game of Death. And I wrestled in middle school and high school, so I was familiar somewhat with, combat sports. And I think I was 20 years old, so I've been training about 6 years, and I really wasn't doing too much with my life. I was going to school, but I was kind of in a bad place, drugs and alcohol and just living a bad lifestyle. And my buddy Hayden Ireland brought me to a judo class, and I loved it, but it was very limited because judo, is just throws, and I wanted more. And so I started doing jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, Sambo, whatever I could get my hands on, really. I just wanted to, incorporate into my game and become a more complete martial artist. Well, my background, I have my bachelor's in psychology, and I just finished a certificate program in substance abuse counseling. And, like I was sharing before, even though I grew up in a good socioeconomic status and I had a great family, I still became part of that lifestyle of drugs and alcohol and fighting and, crime. And I know for me personally, what it's done for me, it's just revolutionized my life and transformed it. And anyone that knows me before and after I started martial arts can attest to this. And, I feel my story is a testimony to the resiliency of the human spirit and the power of change. And so, martial arts, I'd like to see it help other people's lives. And I feel that, because of my education, psychology and counseling, that this is something I'd like to see, in treatment centers and, counseling centers combined with clinical mental health counseling, in public schools. I'd like to see it. And I've talked to people about this, and I know I'm going to face opposition. My mother worked in the school system, but it's like if you have an idea and you're a pioneer of something, you have to fight for it, and you have to document, what it's done for other people's lives and your own life.
Well, the reason why I got here is before we moved here, we was in another church called Genesis Baptist Church, and my aunt she works there, and she found out about the school and stuff. I wasn't doing so good at Page, so it was like this would be a good opportunity, to change, get a fresh start. So then I got an interview. I got a call from Mr. Shorter. He was like, just come in for the interview, and so we'll go from there. So then I went to Mr. Shorter's room, his office, and he was talking to me, telling us what he did and stuff. His school is off a military thing because he used to be in the military. So I said, all right, I was gonna try it out. He said, come in tomorrow, first day you learn how to tie. I never taught tie in my life. So it was a good experience, So I came in with a button down shirt, everybody else looking at me like I was crazy because, I'm only one button down shirt on. Everybody else had that little polo shirt looking. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm in the wrong class. So then I was like, so then the show was like, you didn't have to wear that. You just wear a little regular polo shirt. I said, okay. So then I learned how to tie first day. And basically he was just like, we gotta get you tested, My opinion was, my thought was, get you tested. Like, what you mean, get you tested? Like, stuff. So then I was like, okay. So then this lady had came in, and she had gave me a test. I had came in, I tested on 4th grade level. It was on 4th grade reading and 4th grade math. And from there, I just kept on, getting tests and stuff like that, and basically he hit the point where I was, needed help most at, and now I'm sitting on a 10th grade level in math and reading. And the reason why he influenced me is he got this thing called no excuses. So you don't come into homework, everybody got to do work. So it's like, you gotta do it with the classroom, not just him. So then he got this other thing called basically, he don't bite his tongue for nobody. You know how teachers do. They try to bite their tongue and stuff like that. And I feel like he really cares about what's going on and stuff like that.
I'm going to give you an example of one of my students I have right now. I've had this student 5 times. And the first time I met him, he would not get out the car. He was that mean, that nasty. And he wouldn't get out the car. He ignored me. So I told his mother to take him back home. Second time I met him, he made it out the car and made it to the front door. He would not pull his pants up, so I sent him back home. Third time I met him, he made it to the classroom for 15 minutes. Attitude took over, I sent him back home. Fourth time I met him, he made it to the classroom, stayed an hour. Attitude kicked back in, I sent him back home. He just came back to me a month and a half ago, and the change I've seen in him, he's still with me today. So those are the little changes that a lot of people don't see. But I see, the parents see, and the students see it. And those are changes that you got to take baby steps. Because these young men have never had structure in their life. I am structure. I am a Marine. And when I come at them, I come at them straightforward. I don't lie to you. I will never lie to you. And don't lie to me. You tell me what I asked you, and tell me the truth. And that's something a lot of these young men have never had before. So the changes that I see in them is changes that they see in themselves also. And one of the things I tell them is, your worst enemy is the person looking in that mirror every morning. That's your worst enemy. You're self-destructing. You can't be mad at anybody else but yourself. But you can change that. I've changed it. I was, like I said, I was one of the worst kids in high school, but I changed because I had to change. Society will not change around you. You must change around society because life is simple. We make it hard. It is. It's, if you follow the rules of society, you'll go through, breeze right through. But when you start breaking into somebody's house, you start selling drugs, you can't blame nobody else. You gotta blame yourself. And if you want something in life, it takes hard work. A lot of these young men, they come in there lazy. And that's the bottom line. It's no other reason. You're lazy. You want somebody to do it for you. I'm not doing it for you. I'll show you how to get it, but I'm not going to do it for you. And when you do it for yourself, you respect it because nobody gave it to you. And that's something no one can take away from you because you earned it. And that's all you got to do. You got to earn it. This school took me 14 years, but I appreciate it because I've seen everything that I've done to bring it to where it is, and I earned this. And there was no excuses, and that's our motto here. There's no excuses. I don't want to hear a dog ate my homework. If he ate your homework, do it again. If not, follow him around with a little pooper scooper, put it back together. It's not where you have no excuses. I don't care you bring it and smell like dog poop. I don't. At least I got it, and that's all that matters. Because you took that extra step to follow that dog around to get your homework back. And I appreciate that. And I'll pass you on that from perseverance alone.
If people say that it's going to make people more violent, or why would you teach somebody who's already prone to violence? Why? The first thing is my own subjective experience, and everyone around me can, attest to the fact that I've changed for the better. But also, I'd say, look at the evidence. There is empirical based evidential studies that show that physical exercise, but martial arts specifically, in this population of at-risk male adolescents, it enhances their growth. And it's martial arts serves as a tool or an instrument for self-exploration, self-development, self-growth, and the deeper you get into martial arts, the more you realize the philosophy behind it, that it's not about hurting somebody. It's about overcoming yourself. When you're out there on the mats, you're not fighting anyone else. You're being a better yourself, and that's what I'm trying to do with these students, is make them better human beings. I'm not here to train MMA champions or elite cage fighters. If that comes of it, great. But I'm here to make, champions of life. And I think it's a positive outlet for aggression or anger that already exists, and it gives them a place to do it in a safe, controlled environment. When I first came, all we were able to do was, kind of hit pads and maybe like spar a little bit, out in the parking lot. And I knew we needed mats, and I knew we needed gloves and shin guards and all that to really, keep developing. And at first, I think they were more interested in the stand-up aspect of it, boxing and kickboxing, because that is more of a natural form of, self-defense and fighting. And so when I first exposed them to, jiu-jitsu is very intimate, and, coming from a male perspective, they were kind of off-put at first, and they were hesitant, and, that, oh man, we don't want to do that, that's this or that's that, until I, put them in a full mount position and started, hitting and, doing arm bars and saying, get out of this, get out, and they realized, oh, there is a whole nother aspect to the ground game but the changes that I saw was, at first they weren't into it, the jiu-jitsu, but then, they started to love it as they started to understand some of the small intricacies of it. And, at first they had no idea what to do. And now to see them developing their technique and their game, and, everybody's game and style is different, and it's fun to watch them, make their own. They're smiling more for sure. When they see me, they're glad, because that's what this program offers. It's not just martial arts training, but, we have group discussions, on life, on jobs, on career, on future, on girls, on real life things. And, we do meditation and philosophy and critical thinking. And, this program it's here to help them grow. And, I think that martial arts is, like I said, a tool, and you use it in combination with other, approaches to help them grow.
I came a long way. Came a very long way. I really didn't care about school. Like, at first, I didn't care about the education. I didn't think it was that important. I was very disrespectful. Had a smart mouth. I really didn't care. Like, at the time, I didn't. But now it's like I go to people. I'm more respectful. I don't talk back no more, and I don't. I do my work now. I'm very more focused than I was before, because the stuff I had got taught. In the course of the years I've been here. I've been here for 2 years, almost 3 years now.
I watch them work out sometime, and I know when they first started, like one of my more frail students, he didn't have the stamina, he didn't have the endurance, he didn't even have the willpower to do anything. He would just sit there and, whatever came his way. But since Alex came in, it's like a thirst for it now. And I watched him wrestle and get down the other day. And I didn't know he had it in him. He didn't know he had it in him. And the more he works with Alex, you can see the more confidence he builds up in himself. The more strength he's starting to build up in himself. He didn't even know he was that strong until Alex made him face that obstacle. And he put him up against another student. And that's a challenge he's never faced before. And for him to do that, the confidence level in both of those students, neither one wanted to give up. So it's like they pushed each other, which is something they didn't do before Alex came in. They had to push each other. And I think that's one thing Alex brings to the table. He makes them challenge themselves, not only physically, but emotionally, academically, and just the fact of you knowing that you can do this. I hear Alex talking to him, yo, man, you can do this. And that gains that confidence in him now. Well, if he thinks I can do it, I can do it. And Alex will push them. And it's not, no, it's a, come on, man, I know you can do this. And it's just that tone that he brings to the table. And they know Alex has been through things. And that's where they relate. Because Alex never gave up. When he could have given up. They know his story. And he lets them know his story. That I didn't give up. I made mistakes in life. But here I am now. And that's what they look up to. And that's what they respect him for. That he didn't give up. He kept fighting. Even though the odds were against him, he didn't stop. He just, he stopped. He stood back, reflected. All right, I'm messing up here. Let me take this other avenue. And I think that's what brought him here. And I think that's why he associates himself so good with these young men, and they associate themselves so good with him. We try to teach our young men to be grateful. Be grateful for everything you get, because it's not promised to you. And everything is not about money. And that's what a lot of these young men come in, yo, man, I need money for this. I need, no, everything is not about money. And one of the things I try to instill them is, I make nothing. And I'm just as happy. I really am. I'm just as happy. We're getting donations, but it's not mine. It's yours. And, I had a house donated to me for $10. It was a condemned house. And the guy said, if you can fix it, you can have it. And it took us 85 days. We had contractors come in. We had myself and my students. They were taught how to put up drywall. They were taught how to run plumbing. They were taught how to run electrical work. They were taught how to put in the floors. They were taught how to paint. And painting is not just throwing paint up on the wall. They were showed actually how to paint. And that's a skill that you'll have for the rest of your life.
I cook professionally, and, that's not my end goal. I would like to, have something like this of my own one day with a school and students, and it would be geared more towards, martial arts being a, probably heavier part of the program, and for the at-risk male adolescents, I don't know, it's what I'm drawn to because, like I said, I was that myself, and it's kind of like the 16-year-old me is trying to go back and, save, you're like, here's the light, you're in the dark right now, here's the light. And that's the thing with these kids, is that you can't prevent them from experiencing what they have to experience. And it's hard to, watch sometimes is, you see we all have these like dueling internal conflicts, two sides to us. And so, they want to change, but they're, it's a struggle for everybody. We all have our demons, and that's what I'm trying to do here, is offer them coping skills and, mechanisms to change their life. But as far as the occupation, I'm a chef, and there's a lot of similarities between cooking and martial arts. It's timing, patience, perseverance, dedication, and that's all part of martial arts. And, they're both tools of self-exploration, and it's like you leave it all on the plate or you leave it all on the mat. And so something I'd like to do, if there's funds through the GoFundMe, the kids have expressed a lot of interest in learning how to cook. But fresh ingredients can get expensive, and so if the money was available, I'd like to teach them how to cook, because that's a autonomous skill that they'll carry on throughout their lives. Just like with the martial arts, they're not just learning how to defend themselves, they're learning how to be part of a team and communicate. And that's something they'll carry over throughout their life into the workforce. And, you know,
Hey, if my heart stop pumping tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow, cause life is hard mentally.